Asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mritam gamaya Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hey.
Hello, beautiful. How are you doing today?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me good?
I can. I'm so excited for this. I just want to light a candle here in my space with all good intention for this to be fun, informative, and connecting.
So what I want to do is get us on Facebook Live, because really what I want more than everything is for the women that watch to go, I need to take better care of myself.
Yes.
You know, and I think, you know, so if you want to share tools, I'm going to kind of use my normal format a little bit, but really I want, you know, it's kind of like we're taking time out to self-care and talk about how we do that. And so hope that'll people see your magic. 2, it'll inspire all these women that are working really hard right now to tune into themselves a little differently.
I'm here for it.
All right, give me just a few minutes, not even a few minutes, but to get us on Facebook Live. And then I will get this going here. Hang on. And then I get it up on my phone.
You're using your phone as well?
Yeah, I use both.
Make sure mine is off.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This is Lele with Business Our Way from Women Empowered in Cannabis, and I am the community leader of the supply chain group. I am super excited. You know, usually we get together on Sundays with women that are really pushing hard in building their supply chain and building their business, specifically in cannabis. But, you know, I've been hearing from a lot of you in our clubhouse chats and in other forums, because we have been working really hard. I mean, I've been just going 1,000% for 6 years now. And I found myself this last year really needing to like tune back in with myself, and very synchronistically found some magical support on Clubhouse. And if you give me just 2 minutes to get us in all the platforms so all the women can tune in, I'm going to introduce you to our guest today. So just give me 2 more minutes to get us all there. Just a few more minutes, ladies. I appreciate your patience. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in. This is Business Our Way with Lele. I'm Lele, and we do this about once a week, at least 2 times a month. And we touch base with really amazing women who are creating business their way around cannabis in the supply chain. Today, you know, a lot of us has been really plugging at it for the past 6 years here in California with legalization, if not a lifetime. And I found myself a couple months ago really looking for new tools or new support. And I met this amazing woman, Chioma, through Clubhouse, and we just synchronistically got together, and I said, yes, I want to book some time with you. And we got on, and it turned out, without even knowing that we had the plant in common so strongly, it turned out we did. And I wanted to share with you some of her amazing vibrations and teachings, and the support she's giving me, and her conversation around the plant. So everyone, thank you and welcome Chioma. Am I saying that correctly? It's such a beautiful name, and I would hate to not say it correctly.
You're saying it perfectly. Perfectly. Thank you.
And how do we pronounce your last name?
Nwosu.
Nwosu. And what does it mean?
So Chioma, I'm Nigerian, and in the Igbo dialect, that's the tribe I belong to, Chioma is a way of wishing someone good luck or saying, may God be with you. And as I'm told, Nwosu means son of authority. So it's...
I feel that. I can feel that coming from you, for sure.
You know, we give great thought and intention to naming our kids. So I was blessed by my parents in that way as well.
So Chioma, I usually start this out, and I want to start it out with you as well, because I don't know the answer to this. Okay. Because our relationship is so different from how I usually with these interviews. And I didn't know that you had this deep relationship with what this group of women watching us call the mother plant. And I would really love to hear, and I think the women that'll be tuning in would love to hear, how did you come to cannabis?
Yeah, I think it's amazing how we connected and share this medicine so deeply. I think that that spirit, that's universe, that's God at work here. And I am so grateful for that. I just wanted to say that before we move on, because it is somewhat of a miracle and how we met and for the purpose. And still here it is, you know, still here cannabis is, because it is definitely part of the healing. I met cannabis I think kind of late. I met cannabis in college. A boyfriend was smoking cannabis. I got my first hit via shotgun, and I thought my heart was going to explode. I had never felt this thing before. But because I have a spiritual basis and background, I always knew that there was a spirit behind the plant, although I used it very recreationally, very irresponsibly. I didn't come to understand the true benefit of cannabis until I took my first cannabis yoga class. And then subsequently, that took me on a journey where I ended up in the Amazon basin with the Shipibo tribes, studying different plant rituals, different ways to use plant to enhance the psyche, to open the door to healing, to deal with the shadow. So my evolution in cannabis, you know, weed, pot, marijuana, the wacky tobacco, it's grown so much. It's evolved really than this recreational thing that I would do and park cars and in the darks and, you know, try not to get caught, you know, partaking in it. Now it's something that I happily share and that I use as a therapeutic tool, but I also use with caution. I feel like misuse of cannabis is definitely a potential, especially in the widening scope of how available it's becoming. And I feel that there's a potential to use it as another mechanism or vehicle for escape.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm still cultivating my relationship with her to understand myself more.
So you mentioned that you knew that there was a spirit to the plant.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, so I would
Absolutely.
like to hear a little bit about that your own spiritual development first, and then I would love to hear more about what you mean by there is a spirit to the plant.
Yes, my own spiritual development. I started off Catholic. Well, I take that back because I was born in Nigeria, and you know, I always have been around spirituality in the way that it's ritualistic, it's indigenous. You know, I come from a lineage of healers, ointment makers, bone setters, like alchemy and mixing things. My mom was always into that, deep with prayer, and prayer coming in so many different forms, right? That's in the house. But we went to Catholic school, we went to Catholic church, we got indoctrinated in Catholicism. And, you know, I feel like with Catholicism and with that indoctrination, a little bit, you know, it's white supremacy. And so with that, it made the indigenous practices archaic and uncivilized and something to be hidden, done in the shadow, much like how I found cannabis. And so the respect for it, you know, I would say juju, and it would be a joke, but there is actual reverence and study and cultivation and maturation with the use of it, that's indigenous to me, that's in my bloodline, that I've been around. So, you know, as my spiritual development has been, you know, I would have never thought that my life would be what it is today, because I live a very spiritual life. I think that everything I do has a spiritual lean into it. And it's a way of me finding my way back home, finding my way back to my indigenous practices. I was Catholic up until my mother passed when I was 21, and I started asking questions. You know, it was right, you know, around the time when people start to figure out what they want to do in life. And I was uprooted, you know, and I was grasping at what we had known to be a foundation, which was the religion. You know, we were the type to be, you know, Holy Week, we're there. You know, I was an altar server, a lector. I ran the youth group, the junior youth group. I was in the Catholic Youth Organization, the big umbrella CYO. You know, I was in it. That was my social life. That was my leadership training. That was my education. And so when my mom passed away and I started asking questions like, where does her soul go? What happens to the spirit? Like, I was learning in physics that energy can be neither created nor destroyed. So what's this thing that's my mom, these electrical impulses that made her heart beat, that made these involuntary synapses happen? What happens to that? I tried to reconcile that with the church, and I got a lot of, oh, they're there, have faith, it's best not to question. Half answers that really didn't satisfy me. And so the last semester year of my studies, I delved into psychology. I delved into even sociology and the way societies think and how group think or thought is come about, and what, you know, back in the day, there were people who were just thinkers. That was their job. That was their value. Who are those nowadays? And what, you know, everybody's driven by something. I don't know. So my mom's passing really cracked open a lot of what reality was at that time. And through those journeys, I found Buddhism. And I moved to Los Angeles. I became SGI Buddhist in 2008. I have my Gohansen. And, you know, even through that, through SGI Buddhism, the foundation is keep it grassroots. Never get so big that you start to manipulate or, you know, be this entity, right? Keep it grassroots. And that kept me cultivating and studying on my own for the answer for me. Because in SGI, the overall goal, the mission is world peace, but not in this crazy way where we're controlling people. It's in this way where I'm becoming peaceful, and those around me are becoming peaceful.
Yeah.
And those around those people are becoming peaceful. And guess what? At the end of that is world peace. So my focus, my mission, my determination is to become peaceful in my lifetime. And just through that study and journey and evolution, you know, that's how I found plant spirit medicine. I found Cosmic Sister Organization. Zoe Helene, she is a psychedelic feminist, a feminist like yourself. I don't know if you would slap feminist on your chest, but she is like you in that she recognizes the spaces that could benefit from more female voices, female energy, female influence. And psychedelics was one of them. And never having done anything beyond marijuana in my life, I hopped on a plane and went into the Amazon and broke wide open, and here we are.
And so was that when you became a practitioner? Because I would call you a practitioner because you're helping me, right? You have a system that you've created, or, you know, I don't know if system's the right word, but you have a beautiful practice.
Yes, it's a practice. It's absolutely a practice. Yeah, the same year, 2018 is when I went to the Amazon to do multiple ceremonies of ayahuasca and study shamanism. And 2018 is the same year I became a certified empowerment coach. 2018 is the same year I got a grant to do cannabis and spirituality workshops for Cosmic Sister here in Los Angeles as an extension. 2018 is when I made my first contact with Stephen Gray, who wrote the book on cannabis and spirituality. You know, 2018 is the year that it all, like, I became a Reiki practitioner. 2018, like, yes, I think spirit for me that was the door opening. And it was not anything I had seen coming, nothing I could have planned for. I had been praying for a way to heal my own sorrows. You know, I was carrying the burden of guilt, carrying the burden of depression, carrying the burden of just, I used to call it an unrequited life, full of all these shoulds, right? Not in full and deep gratitude for what was and who I am. And 2018, God, universe, source was like, stop that, child. And through that, I came out the other end, just this brilliant light, wanting to share, you know, as much as I could. Like, if my mother had some of this, you know, she died of hypertension. She had a heart attack and a stroke at 44. She was the type of woman, she had two full-time jobs, research projects, and like side hustles. Talk about, and she had imposter syndrome. That's where I learned it from. Not being enough, so you have to do more to prove. Well, she met an early demise because of it. And I was well on the tracks of copying that.
You know, you just brought up imposter syndrome, and I have that. It is such a huge thing. I think, I mean, I don't know, because I don't have a lot of experience in all these other big industries, but I wonder, but part of it isn't in cannabis is because of the stigmas and the shame that we've carried around this plant for years.
Absolutely.
You know, what are some of the tools that you've used? I mean, we've talked about a little bit about the plant medicine, but what are some of the tools, whether it's plant medicine, that help you break through those moments?
It's really, and this is going to sound, it's really about the self-talk. It's really about how I allow myself to be seen by myself. Okay. And I wish it was, you know, drink this tea, take this bath.
I want you to, can you say that again? Say that again. Because my brain needs to really, how I allow myself to be seen by myself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Powerful.
Yeah. How I allow myself to be seen by myself. It's really about take off the suit of the saboteur and allow yourself to be the enough that you are. It's not enough to say, I am enough, I am enough, I am deserving. Yet you have this saboteur that's going, no, you're not. Who do you think you are? You. Get real that that's there first and foremost. And don't judge it. So often in self-help and these different programs, it's all about, you know, figuring out what's wrong so we can completely eradicate it. That's not how I view healing. That's not how my healing was, because I'm too stubborn for that. If I want to be a victim, I'm going to be a victim, God damn it.
Oh, I got that one too.
You know, so that wasn't going to work for me. It was like, okay, here's the shadow. How do I use it? Because it's here, right? So get real, start to observe and become aware of the ways that the saboteur is showing up, and get curious, like, So I have this, for instance, I have this important thing to do today, this important talk that I'm going to give, right? Instead of preparing, my saboteur says, you don't need to prepare, girl. You got this, you don't need to prepare. 30 minutes before the thing, I'm freaking out. I don't think I feel prepared. I'm not enough. Why did we have to go through that drama? Why do we have to go? Well, you have to go back. Why did my saboteur put me off? Well, maybe I don't need to practice or prepare a week away. Maybe I don't need to prepare 3 days away. My saboteur didn't say not to prepare. It's just like, you got this. You don't need to prepare. Well, I know that I don't want to be there on the day of freaking out. I want to feel in my power. I want to feel confident. What does that require? Well, maybe if I set out 3 hours, 2 hours, an hour before I'm supposed to do this, I can satisfy the saboteur, who is my ego showing up, and spirit, who knows better, who knows that my grounding is based on me feeling prepared and ready for whatever it is that I'm taking on, right? So it's not beating myself up for, oh, I should have prepared at least a day ago or 2 days ago. It's allowing that stuff to show up and saying, let me work with you. Let me work with you. You know, another thing, you know, people always, because I do yoga, I teach yoga, and people come to me with all these big goals that they want to do. I want to do this, I want to do that. And it's great. Week 1, they show up, they got the headband on, the water, the towel, they're ready. The work is hard. They notice it. Week 2, they forgot their water, they forgot their towel, but they're there. Week 3, you're calling them like, yo, you're late. Week 4, they don't even answer the phone anymore. What happens? It's because, and in Buddhism, they say these devilish functions come up. It's our humanity. All of us are going through something. All of us have come from somewhere, right? But we're looking at the people around us who are, if you're on the internet, showing us highlight reel after highlight reel after highlight reel. And so we're going to denounce and deny our humanity to try and achieve and get that thing that we see that's just their best, right? It's not the toil, it's not the obstacles, it's not the challenges, but because we get them, oh my God, something's wrong with us, right? I'm all about using your shadow, use your impediments, use your challenges to up level yourself instead of using it to judge yourself and demean yourself and become more of what you're not, what that saboteur that's standing in the way. Am I making sense?
Oh, of course you're making amazing actually, Chioma. You know, I do though. I would love to hear more about what you mean by using your shadow. You kind of, you know, explained it, but I think we can go in a little deeper so people, because what I found when we're having these like spiritual conversations is we feel so much, right? But there's actual tools, right?
Yeah.
That break down, that allow us. So when we're in that moment of that imposter syndrome, what's the shadow?
What's the shadow? What's the thing that's keeping you from living the life of your dreams? What is it? What is it? It could be anything.
So in the moment, in the imposter syndrome moment, as you're getting ready to do an interview, your shadow is that voice saying, oh God, you're not ready. Oh God, you're bad because you didn't prepare a week before. Oh gosh, you're going to fail because you didn't prepare a week before.
That's the shadow.
Okay. So how do we shed light in that moment on that? How do we transform in that moment?
Okay, in that moment, our imposter syndrome comes up and says, you didn't prepare, you're gonna suck, you're bad, right? The awareness is like, all right, I'm having these thoughts. I accept that I'm having these thoughts in this moment, right? I'm having these thoughts. And then you make a commitment. I'm having these thoughts, but I'm still going to continue this interview. So it's a matter of when are you becoming aware? Am I becoming aware prior to the interview, or is this something that some conversation I'm having after the interview? Like the timing, right? So if this is before the interview, let's just say, because I feel like before things happen, you have a lot more power, more skin in the game. After things happen, you do have power, but you have to deal with kind of like the fallout, and there's other things at play. So let's deal with, this is before the interview. My imposter syndrome is coming up. Let's say this is an hour before the interview. I've not been ready. I'm sitting here stressing, right? I'm aware of it. And my thought is, okay, what is this telling me I need to do? I need to prepare more. I obviously need to prepare more because these thoughts are coming up. Why are these thoughts coming up? Well, this reminds me of a time when I was little and, you know, fill in the back, the girl down the street, or or this reminds me, I'm gonna use some personal stuff. This reminds me of the time that I was little and my cousin made fun of me because I didn't know the answer to something. Get real. All right. Am I still that little girl? No. What did that little girl need in that moment? It's okay. You can make a mistake. Well, is it okay that I can make a mistake? Yes, it's okay that I can make a mistake. I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be perfect. Okay, so I don't have the pressure of being perfect is now off of me. What can I devote myself to in the time frame that I have right now so that I can enter into this thing empowered? Okay, I guess I can look over some stuff. I'm not going to know anything. I'm not going to know everything. And it's okay for me not to be perfect. It's okay for me to make mistakes. Will looking this over make me feel more grounded? No. Okay, no. Strong no. What's going to make me feel grounded? Taking some breaths and just settling myself. Then that's what I do. It's all about how you talk with yourself in the moment. It's about having mercy for whatever emotions are coming up and having grace and allowing and acknowledging them to be a part of this human journey. It is not about, projecting something of perfection. It's not about moving past the signs, the sensations, the signals that you're getting from yourself. It's a lot of that accepting this coming up, coming into awareness, as to how this is playing out and maybe where the originating incident came from, right? And then aligning yourself to something or a string of actions or a thought that's going to bring you closer to how you want to show up for the thing that you're preparing for. Say it's this talk or, this is an arbitrary topic. And then taking that action. If it's the deep breath, the meditation, if it's the doing the yoga, if it's the looking over the thing, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, not staying stuck in that cycle of I'm not enough, I suck, I'm bad, I'm wrong. You're using that self-saboteur to take you towards healing, right? In the long run.
I think that's the opportunity. That's what the saboteur's job is, right? Is to say, hey, here's an opportunity to do something to make yourself feel better.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Right?
If you have the awareness. Because the saboteur can just be a cycle of constant self-defeating action, talk, thought.
So let's talk about that. What is that awareness? How do you I know the answer for myself, but I'm interested in hearing, what would you call that awareness? So how does someone identify that, oh, this is my body, myself saying, I need to maybe look this over, or you told me I need to dance, how does a woman or a person identify that? What is going to tell them that this is what's going on?
And this is the toughest part of the game. It's devoting time to stillness.
And what will that stillness show them? What'll happen?
Well, I know I can only speak for me. I did a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat. Now, I thought I was meditating before I did this thing, right? It's 10 days. I did it in North Fork, California. It's right at the foothills of the Sierra Nevada. It's like the midpoint of California. I drove up there. They separate the men and the women. And 10 days, no talking, no cell phones. You can't even journal. It's you with you and you and you. I thought I was meditating before. You sit down, right? First of all, orientation, you're amongst people, you can talk, and then it's done. And then you go into your cabins, and I sit down in my bed, and there's all this silence, but the energy of the vibration of anxiety. Because we all wanted to do this, but like no talking. They even have this thing, no eye conversations.
Oh, wow.
I was like, eye conversation? Yeah. Because, So you go into this room and Lily, listen, we are meditating 11 hours a day. They come through your cabin ringing this loud ass bell at 4 a.m. Get your ass up. It's time to meditate. You're groggy as shit. You go into the space. You're sitting there half asleep. And they've already given you instructions about specific posture, breathing technique. You're ready, right? I kept hearing music. Kept hearing music. And my journey through the day or through the series of days was to get to that silence, that nothingness. And in that nothingness, I had some deep epiphanies, some understandings about myself, about the world. I heard that soft whisper of spirit for the first time in a long time, getting real still and quiet. Now, I'm not saying Vipassana for everyone, although I will say, if you have a center near you, go, because it's absolutely free for one. People donate dana in gratitude because they put you up in really great accommodations. You're fed the entire time, a beautiful vegan meal. We eat 3 times a day. And I had the opportunity to have my own pagoda, which is a soundproof room. Child. You don't go in unless you're ready, but it's a soundproof room to sit in meditation. But if Vipassana, I think it's vipassana.org, or just look up Vipassana. But you don't have to go to Vipassana to get this. You just get into the habit of sitting still, undisturbed. And it can start with a minute at a time. You can graduate to 3 minutes, then 5, then 7, then 10. But I'm telling you, that stillness and that quiet allowed me to become aware of some deep, deep truths that I had been running from, that I was distracting myself from, you know? A lot of empath. I would describe myself as an empathic person. I don't know, that term I feel has gotten a bad connotation in these days, but I feel that I am an empathic person. And because of that, I am a giver. I'm a giver. I pour into people. But I discovered in my meditation, in my deep silence, that I do that as a way to distract from myself. So I only offer that up, that, you know, if you also identify as an empath or an empathic person, this might be a tendency of yours. And I'm telling you, this truth could not have come to me had I been busy doing what I do, calling it good service, calling it, you know, being good in the world, right? You really have to spend that time with you and your quiet so spirit can enter and really guide you. And you could do this in nature. You could do this on a nature walk. You could do this doing the dishes. It's just the intention to be still and quiet with your thoughts and become aware of your breathing in the moment.
And you and I have talked about this a little bit, but when you're in that stillness with your thoughts, let's talk about the talk, the body talk, right? Because for me, that's how I know I'm not in my right space, is I start feeling like, when that imposter syndrome comes up, I start feeling the anxiety, the you know, my legs start shaking more. And then when I take the conscious action, right, when I acknowledge the saboteur and take the conscious action, then I can feel my shoulders go down. I stand up. It's easier because I have a spinal cord injury, so it's hard to stand up, but it's easier for me to stand tall than when the saboteur is weighing on me. And I feel like we can identify it immediately when we acknowledge the facts that our bodies, our physical bodies, are identifying that for us. Maybe our heart doesn't, maybe our mind doesn't, but we feel that.
Absolutely. It's an energy.
Right. The vibrations, right?
But legit, just like you said, you can stand up taller when you're light from all of that doubt and questioning of yourself. That stuff it actually weighs you down. You know what I mean? And you do get into that protective, smaller posture. And that's part of my work. You know, when I I'm a massage therapist as well. And so when people come to me, I can tell right off with their energy. I can tell if they slept well the night before. I can tell if they ate in the morning without them even telling me. I can tell if they're hydrated. I can tell if someone has negative self-talk going on, you know, and I think most of us can. We respond to it in a way that may not be the same way a therapist, oh, this is going on. We respond to it with our own reactions. And just like you can feel that energy off the other person, people can feel that energy off of you, and you can feel the energy, you know, the butterflies in the stomach. That's intuition. Our bodies this is our best intuitive tool. Forget a pendulum. Forget the crystals. Our bodies this is the best divining tool we have, you know. Once you get in practice of sitting still and allowing the sensations and the feelings to have their time and space in your vessel instead of constantly, you know, once you allow them to really flow and experience them without judgment, they can be guideposts, they can be compasses, great tools.
Yeah, my learning my body language is how I am healing. I won't say heal because you're always in practice. How I'm healing myself is, and I found once I understood that, I was shocked that it's not the first thing we're taught in life. Just shocked, because it's like walking through life without a dictionary, you know, or without a translator in a world of that where you have no understanding of the language. It just blows my mind that we're just not taught. And that's another thing that I really feel like the plant is struggling to bring to the table, because it's so diverse, right?
Yes.
And she has so many chemical profiles. And even if I grow the same exact genetic profile and you grow it, we're going to have a different genetic profile. And I think
our energies, our intention, all of
I think that's why she's trying to go world wake up.
Serious.
You know, you guys are these amazing little computers, but you forgot to compute.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I would love for you to kind of dive in a little bit more, and maybe we could use the plant as your client in a sense. Ooh. And show us what a little bit of your process, or share with us a little bit of your process. Is that possible?
So you're asking me as if I were to do a medicine facilitation using cannabis?
Or if you, because we're speaking to women, a large group of women, or if you had, like how I came to you, if you had cannabis as it's going through legalization come to you, just like I did,
the client.
Not me, it's cannabis.
So fun. Lady, that is such a good question. Oh my gosh.
Let's do it.
Fun. So cannabis came to me and she's like, girl,
I'm going through legalization. The world is changing. Help me.
Help me.
I need support. So I can, I can do this with the integrity that I have and the grace and love that I have, because that's what the plant is trying to share. So what is she needing?
Oh gosh. I would say cannabis. I say be sure you're not expanding faster than what you're ready with this legalization. I think I'm happy that people have more access to you, because you are an enhancer. You are also a safe haven for those of us going through tough emotional times. And I really and you are also a pain reliever and an appetite enhancer for those of us who are going through, body rejuvenation and rehabilitation from, a bunch of things. And I want those people to have access to you. But here's what I see happening as a potential cannabis. I might do I might do a little divination for her. I would say, Cannabis, I see production of you growing, and you no longer going through human hands in order to reach the people who need you. And that type of industrialization, automation of the cultivation of your plant and your flower is really going to call for those of us who are connected to Gaia and all of the spiritual influences to take you into our own homes and cultivate you for our medicine. Cannabis, I think that it's important that when we do, that there is a collective where we can share our information, and you can come to each of us, energy workers, people of the soil, harvesters of nature, and keep our hearts open and pure as we handle you, so that the people in our communities that we share you with can get you in your truest essence, the way that you love to be cultivated. I would say, Cannabis, you know, I say, girl, you know, I really want you to feel no guilt, no pressure. I want you right now to feel celebrated. Take this small victory and celebrate it, because for so long, people have been villainized and, you know, incarcerated, let's just say, for having you. And so the fact that you are being, you know, federally, hopefully, seen as something that is medicine instead of some recreational thing, that's a good thing. So let's celebrate that also. Let's take a moment and enjoy the breath of fresh air that we all can take now, not having to be in the shadow, not having to be in the dark, not having to be hidden. So I would ask her to set her intentions. I would ask her to set her intentions moving forward on how she'd like to show up. All right. And I'd ask her, just like, you know, I would ask any of my clients, what are some of the steps you can take so that you're not bearing the weight and the burden of, you know, your stress, of, you know, the oncoming changes.
Yeah, you know, you brought up something that I actually haven't even like started to absorb, because with the industrialization of it, and, you know, as we grow as an industry, because that train has left the building, right? It's there. And frankly, the more she spreads, the happier I am. I think she should infiltrate everything, frankly. She and he, the plant, should infiltrate. There's so much to offer. But I just got distracted by my son. But what I also know from being a grower, how much she gets from our interaction with her. And as I'm thinking of a facility and having to create things like that, you know, automation is a big part of that more commercial and in the integrity of the product and the consistency of the product. But then all that vibration that she carries is going to shift too. And so as leaders in this industry, those of us for women who are building our products around this plant in our businesses, I think what Chioma just said, we need to really think about. And as leaders, we need to add more of the magic if we're going to take away some of the magic, which is us. You know, if we're gonna, if that part is gonna step away, then those of us developing those products, growing, developing businesses, I feel have even more of a responsibility to infuse that magic in her journey from the seed to the patient or the consumer.
Absolutely, absolutely. From seed to flower, it has to be intentional. It really does, especially if she's not being cultivated through human hands, which I think that relationship is part of the medicine. Just like you said, you can grow the same strain as I and have a different experience completely. Why is that, right? This isn't something we can do by machine. We're not talking about carrots. This is medicine.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how because there'll be a split, right? That's going to be like our cool little community, artisanal, and then there's this the big stuff coming out. And it's going to be interesting to see how those cannabinoid profiles and terpene profiles and chemical profiles change. I mean, I wonder if, well, we kind of already know. Look at Mississippi. Mississippi did research, and the weed was so bad that it caused some problems.
That's another thing with growers. I mean, you have more knowledge about this, but I also wonder about the spiritual aspect of the plant with all this cross strain and hybridization, and are these things supposed to be, I remember, now I'm old school, okay? I remember when a dime bag was $10, like, and it was a gram. This is, and so like, how many strains were available? 10, maybe tops 20. Now there's so many strands. There's like, and are you handling these mixtures of, seeds and strains? Are you handling them with care? Are they meant to be mixed that way? Are you educating the consumer? Are you educated as to what this is? There's no more straight indica or straight sativa anymore. And I mean, when it comes to medicine, are we losing something because we don't have that to properly dose with? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. We are. There are things getting lost, but my experience with the plant has told me that the plant decides those things.
The plant decides.
Right. As a farmers, part of the process is determining which is the strongest, most vibrant cultivar or phenotype of those genetics, and that's the plant showing us what she loves or what what harmonizes with her the most. But as we create these more artificial environments, she'll be doing things that aren't in her nature, correct? Right? It won't be so much her telling us what's going on. So it will be interesting. I think
that's what's happening now. I mean, she loves natural soil, nutrient rich. She loves sunlight, organic. But again, with automation, people want to extend their yield and shorten the turnaround, and it's some form of cannabis at that point, right?
Yeah, it's I mean, we already have isolates now, so it's just 5-6 years ago, I guess, I was trying to talk a bunch of farmers into coming into legalization, and I remember telling them, if we're not a part of the conversation, what if our plant becomes the atom bomb? Because the atom bomb was created to save the world.
Wow.
But it didn't, right? The creator, the gentleman who invented the atom didn't want to create bombs. So we have a responsibility as plant whisperers or evangelists, I think, to do our best to ensure that doesn't happen. So before we go, we're almost coming to an end. Do you have any words of wisdom for women who really don't have a relationship with the plant, but have just been introduced to her and are coming into this industry to build around the plant?
To build their businesses around the plant?
Yep.
I would say first get familiar with her. Build a relationship with her on your own. When I do my cannabis and spirituality workshops, it's about building reverence, understanding, why are you coming to the plant? What are you looking from the plant? you know, getting clear about those things. If it's just to make business, you know, I don't know. I'm hesitant to do business with people who are just in it to make the money. You know, I feel most comfortable having conversations and elevated discussions about cannabis with people who are actually practicing with her. So I would say first and foremost, that would set you apart is to actually use her. You don't necessarily have to smoke, but you know, in tinctures or edibles or, you know, formulate a relationship and have that relationship be somewhat of a ritual to infuse that reverence, understand that you are taking medicine, and, you know, be aware of the changes that you know you go through. Sometimes we kind of slip into our lull of a high unconsciously. I would say, especially if you're entering into the industry, definitely study your reactions to it and the strains that you prefer so you can speak. My pet peeve is going to purchase a cannabis product from a handcrafter or even someone in the dispensary, and they can't speak to me with great confidence about the experience one will have if I ingest this cannabis product or if I smoke this flower. Our experiences will definitely be different, but you should be able to speak to the experience that the consumer will have so they can decide for themselves, is this something that I want to partake in or should I try something else? Because as someone in the industry making products, education is part and parcel to making these items for purchase. If education is not part of it, I feel like you're doing the industry a disservice and you're doing the end use consumer a disservice. And I would say for end use consumers who are looking for products, I would get with someone in your community. I think that the community build out should be at the forefront for those of us who want to keep the plant pure, who want to elevate and empower other people. Because ultimately with this automation, I feel like these small farmers are going to be sucked up, they're going to be bought out, and then it's just going to be these big guys just eating each other up, getting a lot of the profit, the market share, and leaving the small farmers, the small communities that they serve, the individuals out to dry with product that we don't really know the energy behind or, you know, how it was cultivated. So if you can always have some community outreach aspect, some community aspect to your business or your industry. And if you're first starting out, I feel like you'll grow more if you do it within a community setting than just trying to do it by yourself and, you know, run with the big boys.
I love that. That's what Women Empowered in Cannabis is all about. It's like, you know, I grew up with women coming together at a potluck, sharing ideas, sharing food, sharing childcare, sharing everything. It's how we got through this. And I think that's how women can really build this industry, is through that same kind of mentality of sharing, you know, potluck style. So we also have a lot of women who watch this show who are like me, who have been in this community, and I don't use the word industry. This is the cannabis community for lifetimes, if not generations, and are merging into this new industry. What words of wisdom do you have for those ladies?
Oh, breathe deep, have faith. Find a sister. The sisterhood is real in cannabis. I've met some wonderful, strong women that I can grow alongside. And I think that that's what sets this industry aside from any other. You know, there's more collaborators than competitors here. So just breathe deep, keep the faith, and tap into community. I can't emphasize that enough. For me, it was really helpful in getting me out of those dark spaces and places that I was in, you know?
Yeah, thanks. And women who've been in this for a long time really know what community means. Mm-hmm. I think we just get a little taken away from this business word. And it's really still community we're building with that.
Women, we can do this thing differently, you know? We connect on a different wavelength. We don't have to follow the status quo. We're here. We've got pioneering spirits, you know, and a special way of seeing an obstacle or a challenge. I feel like we should lean into that instead of trying to be like those people who were before us. It's a reason why the change is happening.
Yeah, I think it's our opportunity to do that, to like pave our own way. That's why I wanted to call this business our way. Because I saw, as a woman, when I sat at the table and tried to do it their way, all of a sudden the table I built became not my table anymore.
Okay.
And when I said, no, we're doing it my way, I stayed at the table.
Okay. And your table grew.
And my table grew. Amen, sister.
Yes.
So how can we find you, get in touch with you, work with you? Maybe you can talk a little bit about how you work, and if a woman wanted to reach out and connect with you.
Yes. Well, if you wanted to reach out and connect with me, the easiest way right now is through Instagram at Chioma Nwosu. You can also contact me through my massage therapy site, ChloeMassageSpa.com. But Instagram or Facebook, drop into my DMs. It's the easiest way, and we can, figure out how you'd like to work with me. I love making new connections and empowering women. The way I work is, hopefully we'll be doing in person soon. But for right now, everything's on Zoom, and I do 45 minutes. It's tarot guidance, which is tarot with a combination of coaching. I also do 45-minute straight up lightning coaching sessions. And then I have 2 longer programs. One is a 15-session program. So I'm sorry. I condensed that because of COVID. Sorry.
You're fine.
It's 6, and it goes over 3 months, every other week. And it's all about spiritual upliftment, getting clear about your values, getting clear about the boundaries that guard these values, getting clear about our visioning. I teach you guided meditation. I teach you just stress management tools. And it's just an exploration of all of our limiting beliefs and the things that we kept in the way of our successes. It's 6 sessions, and it's kind of like the stage 1. Stage 2 is the next session. That one is still in. That one is 24 sessions. It's still over 3 months, but it's every week. It's a little bit more intense. And this is great for people who have a goal that they want to reach in a 3-month span of time. It's a marathon. It's a deep dive. I use the chakra system as a way of uncovering what's in the way, uncovering some of the dirt that we put on top of ourselves that dim our light and keep us from our brilliance. And it's bold, deep work. But both of those are available via Zoom. I used to do them in person, which is really energetic and eclectic because I could throw in other modalities. Like I said, I'm a Reiki master and stuff like that. You still get a distance, but I love doing the in-person because, people energy is just my medicine. But doing it digitally is a way that I can reach people from distances like you're all the way in Humboldt. So
yeah. And I can feel the energy, I definitely feel it. But yeah, in person, there's just nothing like it.
Yeah.
Well, Chioma, I want to say that it has been a pleasure having you on today. And I want to let the ladies know that you've been amazing for me to work with. I'm pretty tuned in and aware, and can be very selective when working with other folks in those modalities. And it is just, as you know, I've been going through something that's really important to me and really intense. And our meetings have just helped me stay in alignment and clear on that doing it my way is the right way.
That's
that
right.
What I'm feeling is that's where I need to stay tuned in. And I have just really appreciated your clarity and your ability to just like go right to where that button is.
It's my pleasure. You always show up so open and ready to do the work, you know? Yes.
I love the work. I love it. All right. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you would like to share with our audience before we go?
No, I feel so full and complete. This was such, you know, we could talk and talk and talk, but this was such a good session for me as well, to see you in your light, seeing you doing what you do. So I want to thank you for creating this space and giving me the opportunity to share myself on this medium this way. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you, sweetheart. I'm glad we connected, and I can't wait for some in-person magic.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, everyone who tuned in and checked out today. This is Lele with Business Our Way for Women Empowered in Cannabis Supply Chain Group. If you're not a member and you're a woman, go join us. We got lots of great things happening in there. We got lots we're doing on Clubhouse. Women Empowered in Cannabis just partnered with ArcView and Toketivity, and so we're creating as many opportunities and resources as we can for women. Next week we're coming up into the hills near me, and we're talking to one of our favorite female growers, Tina Gordon from Moonmade Farms. And until then, have a beautiful week, everybody, and take good care of yourself. Blessings. Okay, we're off.
Yay!
We did it. Good job.
Your questions are amazing.
Well, I want people to walk away. You know, people don't. So there's this big gap when we're talking about spirituality because we're so metaphorical. You know, it's just because it's hard to, everyone's experience is so unique. But as more trained people who have more experience in it, we have to find better ways to share those moments of awareness. The body is huge in that. For me, it was realizing, you know, because that's when you start really understanding vibrational medicine, is when you start understanding how your body responds to these nuances. And so anytime I'm doing this, I'm not doing this because I want to sit here and talk on Zoom on Sunday on Facebook Live and have people watch me at all. In fact, it's what I don't want to be doing. But I am driven to help people because I was so much suffering before my spinal cord injury, so much darkness. And to see that their suffering is such a gift for lightness if they choose, right? If they choose. And so I'm always trying to give people opportunities and little things so it's easier to choose. And that's what you helped me do today. So thank you.
Oh, wow. That is so beautiful and amazing. And to be a part of that, what a gift. Thank you. No, really, what a gift.
Thank you. Well, I hope
you are a powerful woman. Know that.
Cracks me up when people say that. But
know that.
Okay, I am. Look out.
That's right. Absolutely.
We're all full. That's the thing, though. You know, we are all full of so much power. Yeah. And the way our culture and Western civilization has been developed is totally to take all that power away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And it's why we're collapsing, is because we're walking through the world drawing on power when that is not where it is.
Okay.
You know, it's all here.
Yes.
Yes. Plant. It's opening so many people's minds and hearts that you can actually like have these kind of conversations and they get a little bit of it, right? And every time they get a little more and a little more and a little more. So I don't think we're going to have a lot of CEOs in cannabis without a little bit of fucking awareness, because I just don't think that's possible.
It's not meant to be this business model thing, right?
Yeah, I think
Interested to see how this develops in like 10, 15 years from now.
yeah. Well, I'm hoping in 10, 15 years from now, we're going to have words like capitalism and corporations are going to be very rarely used. We'll be talking about social capitalism. We'll be talking, about cooperation.
Yes, cooperatives. Hell yes.
Right.
Yes. I feel like we should be leaning towards that now, but it's not profit generating quite yet.
Well, and we're not ready. This cannabis industry showed me that we're not ready. What we need is good leadership that understands, so that when we are ready, that's how people are building. Yes. But I don't think, as because we're so dependent on what's outside of ourselves in every way.
Right.
So now I've changed. In fact, I just had a conversation with someone who wants to come in and be a part of what I want to do. And he's like, well, I want to do all these different businesses' names. And I went, no, I don't think that's the way to do this anymore. I think we can build a corporate structure that empowers all those individual operators and honors them equally, but is led and managed effectively.
Yes.
That's what I think.
Yes.
I don't know what that is yet, but I'm trying to
people market share. Take them underneath your umbrella, but offer them market share. Don't just buy them out for pennies on the dollar and then sit there like a fat cat making money off, their hard work.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly. If someone is going to put their intellectual property and their experience into this business, then they should have a piece of the business.
Absolutely.
That is their adding to the universe.
Absolutely. And if you have an organization or a collective of those, I think that's how you keep cannabis and people when it comes to cultivation. That's how you keep them in close partnership, close proximity. And you can exponentially grow. Everybody can make money. If you offer them profit share, it doesn't have to be 20%, but even if they're getting 2% of this huge profit, that's putting food on their tables. That's helping them with their operational. That's just the right thing to do.
Yeah, we just haven't had the kind of leadership, there's a lot of me leadership, and it's not just cannabis. It's like we keep saying, it's culturally, there is a problem. But if I get the opportunity to develop this project and not sell it, it comes to me to develop, that's what we're going to build.
Yeah.
The problem is you also have to have those 1%ers trust the leadership. Mm-hmm. Give them the 1%, right? Mm-hmm. Because what's happening is it's like, okay, well, I promise you this, but I don't trust you to do this. So then it falls apart because they're not really working together.
Right. And
that's the problem, right?
The people getting that percentage, they need to feel part of it. You can't just be like, yeah, I'm gonna give it to you, right? Exactly. That's where that distrust is. Like, how many times have people, who's gonna just sit around and give me cash? Like, that's just so, make use of them. You know what I mean? I feel like we have so much. Cannabis is like a blank slate, really. We can create this industry.
Yep, I agree.
It doesn't just have to be we're using seeds to make flour to sell. You know what I mean? It could be so much. It could be a way. There's an organization that's downtown LA right now, and they have, so this building, I'm trying to make this a smaller story. This house, this structure, this man lives at the top floor with his family, but I think there's like 3 or 4 levels in the home. And on the bottom level, he rents out space for offices. It's a short lease, but he rents out the space for upstarts to use for offices. In the middle, he has more business, but then, so I think maybe it's 3 or 4 levels. And then one level, he just does Airbnb. He has a wraparound porch that he community organizations have use of. And then he has a garden that they use when they're doing special projects in the home. He uses it for, to feed his family or whatever. The garden is cultivated by this program that juveniles in foster care and juveniles in the juvenile detention system, they come and they do their training on how to cultivate, how to grow crops from the soil. And that's part of their program. So this thing is just run and operated by the community.
What is the name of that?
The Big House.
The Big House. Okay.
The Big House, LA. The Big House. And even they have this big kitchen where they use stuff from the garden. They teach culinary classes to, I want to say junior high and high schoolers. I wish we had something similar to that in different communities for cannabis, the agriculture aspect of it.
Yeah,
where there's an open field and we're growing it, yes, but you can come and learn how to cultivate this yourself. And it's ran by the people, who own the land, but the people who come in every day to get these lessons of agriculture, or maybe it's a program, they're the ones who till the soil, they cultivate the flower, you know what I mean? And then we go into educating, well, but besides the flower, what else in this plant can we use? And how do you use it? There's this mysticism about the plant. It's like, okay, we know we smoke this other thing, but what else can we do? And how the conversations about decarboxylation and breaking down, the fats and what's soluble and how do you make a tincture? And, when I did my workshops, these are the things people wanted to know. Yeah. It wasn't just sativa versus indica. It was like, okay, I grew my first thing and I had a little bit to smoke, but I got this whole plant. Is there anything else I can do with it? The answer is yes, yep. Right? We need to show people that they can have a long-term relationship with this plant beyond just smoking it.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I love that. I think she's going to make that happen because of just what she is. I also get a little worried and then I go, God, I could just see like the whole world and the plant becomes the guru and the God. And then I'm like, but I think
I don't think so.
I don't think that's just, I really believe that she has a mission right now. And I don't think that's part of her mission.
Yeah. Also, I do know that the plant has its uses, and the plant also, there's a time to set her down. And I feel like we're not ready to have that conversation as cannabis users ourselves. I feel like she's overused.
Yeah, I would totally agree.
She's overused. She's overused as a cradle to sadness. She's a comfortable resting place for those of us dealing with heavy emotions. And escapism can come into play. The numbing can come into play. I know that I was subjected to that, I remember when I first started feeling depressive energy, that's when I started smoking her every single day. Now I'm out of that energy, but smoking her every single day has become somewhat of a habit. And my evolution, like I said earlier, my evolution is, do I need to partake in her every single day? Okay, I've gotten the ritual part down. I have reverence for her and all that. I got my dosage and my strain, and I got that. But do I have to do this every single day? What happens if there's a day I wake up and I don't partake in her? And I'm finding that I'm using her somewhat as a crutch still. Now that's a rude awakening because I'm evolved and read it and learned and.
Well, and you got to remember that a large majority of the cannabis industry are patients. Like if we don't use it every day, we might die, because our cancer comes back, or, whatever is going, our Crohn's comes back or whatever.
There are some of us that are definitely patients.
Yep. There's
Definitely patients. But there are some of us that are patients that don't need to be dosing as frequently.
Yeah. I would
Because
agree.
one patient may take a baby aspirin, right? Another patient may have to take Coumadin. Both blood thinners, different dosage, both patients, right? So different stages of illness. Cannabis can't be this broad stroke, but we often want to. Like I said, we're not ready to have that conversation.
I think that's why, though. I do, because I see that. Like, we talk about hyperemesis a lot, and people don't want to hear about that, right? But I do. I think that's why, is because of that part of it. Because that's what I hear is all the patients come up, and I'm a patient, and so I understand that. But I'm also someone who likes to be clear rather than muted. Not all the time, of course, but being on pain medicine for a long time because of my spinal cord injury, that is just not how I like to feel. I like to feel very clear. But again, like you said, that's part of being our spiritual process. But I do see that, at least if I think about that, I think it's because we have so many people that are patients that it's even hard to have the conversation when you're in a group, because you don't, who is that patient, and who is, the grower guy or girl or whatever that's just been smoking weed their whole life and is really could probably like really kick some fucking ass if they stepped back a little bit.
Or could enjoy a heightened quality of life if they did a detox a couple of times a year. I'm not even talking about setting it down for good. I'm just talking about, like, with everything, being aware of how it's showing up, what you're using it for.
Right.
Is it enhancing your life, or are you using it as a Band-Aid for a greater emotional thing that maybe requires a little bit more attention?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're smoking every day and life is roses and you don't have any childhood traumas, honey, and your emotional life is good and you're just flying high, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Love life. Keep doing it. Make sure your lungs are good, but keep doing it, right? But if you have some reoccurring issues, right? I would say step away from it. Do a detox. Do a detox of everything. To take ayahuasca, I'm already vegan, but I have to stop drinking coffee, child, spice, salt. I was like, what is life? But for 2 weeks, so that I could be a clean vessel for the medicine to work and to show me what I needed to see. If I'm inundated with medicine, and I went and took ayahuasca, how could she get through?
Right.
It's the same thing with cannabis. If you're using it every day, what are you missing out on? And if it's a physical thing, yes. If it's cancer, yes. If it's not, ask yourself, why am I taking this is this the correct dosage for me today?
The thing is, a lot of people just don't even think about that, right? Like I was looking for something because my disease will give me these really bad headaches. And I'm like, no, I can't use that because that'll make the headache worse. This is what I need. And they're like, oh, no, can't you won't vomit. I go, no, if I smoke that weed right now, I will vomit because that's what it does to my system. On another day, if I wasn't sick, then, it wouldn't do that to my system. But today, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Part of that, I think, is like what you said earlier, is we just got to grow our own medicine.
Because here's the thing. I have a friend who grows vegetables. She's got I want her edible garden when I have a house. She told me a little trick. She likes to put the seeds in her mouth before she puts it in the ground. She read somewhere that it imprints your DNA into it. So when it grows and comes to fruit,
Yep.
that fruit is specifically for you.
Yep.
I love it.
I've heard of it. I've never done it, but I've heard of it.
Mind
Well, think about
blown.
it. It's a seed. So if it gets any of that DNA through your saliva, it's growing. You know, of course it's going to, right? It's just, it's mind blowing, yet it's also like, duh, right? Like, of course.
So like if you were to take your seed and then put it in that flower would be lily flower.
Yeah, it would. Well, you know, I had a man. So I had this man who thought he was in love with me. I knew he wasn't, but he thought he was. Anyways, I wanted to have my own genetics because I knew where things were going. This was 5 years ago.
Mhm.
And so he created a genetic that he said I want to create something that the way you make people feel, this plant will make people feel.
Aw.
And when I was growing the babies, I would walk into my friend's nursery because they had a whole bunch of different strains, and my babies would lean to me.
Now you see,
And
that
that happened. I went, okay, I am not crazy. That just proved everything I'm talking about is real. So go fuck all you folks. Now give me some machines so I can show you. But yeah, she is. It's why she's gonna blow so much out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
Is because of that, you know.
I wish you could just share that story with so many people, and that would entice people to growing their own medicine.
Yeah. I do share it whenever it's appropriate because it does speak to how magical she is.
Absolutely.
You know, it really does. It's incredible. All right. Well, I am going to go have some magic with my son.
Yay. Enjoy your Sunday. This was so much fun. And let me know when you want to reconnect for our sessions.
Well, I thought you were going to send me a date and a time.
Oh,
because
okay.
I'm ready. You just send me a day and a time that you're available and we'll make it happen. I have a regular paying client right now. So.
Awesome. So I will give you a list of dates, and I believe Tuesdays work better though, right? So I'll try and see if I can have a Tuesday for you.
Tuesdays
okay,
are usually good, yes, unless there's a big board of supervisors meeting, but I've been avoiding all of that lately, so.
All right, my love. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart. I sure do appreciate you. Bye.
Appreciate you. Bye.